welcome back to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. If you have been listening here for a while, or if you are new, I would really appreciate it if you could give that subscribe button a click and rate the show on whatever platform it is that you're listening on. Thank you very much. Let's get into the episode. Hi, and welcome back to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. Today we are talking to Anna, and we are going to be delving into the world of DoTerra Essential Oils and business ownership. So Anna, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, so my name's Anna and I am an essential oils coach, which means I help people get the most out of using essential oils for their emotions, their energy, their immunity. I have been doing this for about 3 years now. Used to work in corporate, and then I went freelance in marketing, and then I decided to set up an online retail business, and then I decided to completely change all of that and do this. So I have worked in lots of different business capacities, and I just wish I had access to all of this when I was doing all of that. So yeah, I'm very excited to chat through this today with you.
Awesome. So what was it that originally got you interested or introduced to DoTerra in itself?
So as a friend, and I used to really struggle with sinus issues. So whenever I was allergic to dust and cats, apparently I found out, dust is quite annoying because I mean, who doesn't have dust in their home? And whenever I went to anywhere new, I would really struggle. So we were on holiday, just checked into a hotel in Amsterdam, and I literally just went, nose stuffy, eyes itchy. And she just gave me this rollerball and she said, roll this down your nose. And I thought, what's this? Because I'd struggled for ages. I'd tried everything over the counter, didn't work. I'd tried some of the natural stuff. So I rolled this thing down, this rollerball down my nose like this. And I thought, well, what's this going to do? I kid you not, within about half a minute we were talking and I just kind of went, whoa, hang on a minute. What's going on? And I could just feel it. It was like this wiper just doing this. So I just had the most incredible experience with sort of a physical symptom. I still wasn't into it then though. She was using them for everything. I'd go around her house and she'd have them on a diffuser. I'm like, what's it for though? I mean, lemon and grapefruit, that's just weird. Why would you want your house to smell of that? And she would be talking about this energy thing. And I was like, what? Well, then I was doing a house renovation and I'd got a son and I was pregnant with my second and I was swallowing it. I was like, this is all fine. I'm coping well. This is not a problem. And then the same friend popped a balance oil through my door. No explanation. And I was like, what's this for? I'm fine. And then I started to use it and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, interesting. This stuff has got something other than a physical benefit. And then that was it. I was I'd say hooked, but that, gives us sort of a synthetic idea. But I then just started to think, okay, there's some power in this. What else can I use it for? And then it just became a go-to. I just got curious. I went from complete skeptic to huge curiosity. And then now it's all I rely on for my health, everything, energy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, we both know Bex, and Beck's been doing some really incredible videos explaining why essential oils work the way they do. And that, for me, has made it a hell of a lot clearer. So can you explain to the audience why DoTerra essential oils are the best sort of essential oils and how they work in align with life? Like, why is it that DoTerra essential oils specifically are the ones that you reach for?
Sure. So there is so much science behind it. And that's what amazed me when I first started using them. Because to me, an essential oil was a bit like an incense stick or a bit like a candle, like it makes your home smell nice. What are you talking about? All this other science. So DoTerra is completely unique because of its purity. So every other essential oil on the market has been adulterated and therefore has a synthetic property in it. So when you add it into a diffuser, it's still going to be emitting some sort of chemicals which are going to be having a mild toxic buildup in the body. So this is exactly what we don't want in our bodies for our long-term health. We want to be reducing any sort of inflammation in our body. So that's the key thing. doTerra was set up 15 years ago in America, kind of in the ashes of a previous essential oil company. And the founders just had this absolute passion that they would create an essential oil that actually had healing properties, that would do so much more than people expect from an essential oil. So it's the purity of these oils that make them so potent in the body. And the purity also comes from the way they're created. So each oil, wild orange, for example, is 4 different species of orange, 4 different types of orange, but it's farmed all over the world. So doTerra partner with family farmers where that crop is its strongest for its own environmental threats. And it means that the purity of that oil on a cellular level, so that the natural chemical components in there fit with the natural chemical components that we have in our body. So it's seen as a like substance. So because they're so pure, we can actually ingest them, which we'll get on to talking about when we talk about the oils. And they can work on a cellular level in our body. So the oil can pass through the fatty lipid outer layer of the cell. And this is where the really true healing capacity is of this therapeutic grade type oil. So doTerra run 56 different tests on each batch of essential oil to ensure the purity. And then scientifically speaking, most of the things we're going to be talking about today with these oils is going to be aromatic use, which means inhaling it. Tiny particles go up the nose, into the brain, into a part of our brain called the limbic system. The limbic system is where all of our emotions, memories, and experiences are stored. So when we talk a lot, don't we, about emotions and energy, and we revert to type. Our brain likes to keep us safe. It's neuroplasticity. We have neural pathways that when we have a certain stimulus, our brain goes, oh, yeah, okay, let's play this tape, CD. Let's play this track. We know how this goes. You do this, your body does that. Oils have the capacity to change that response because of the natural chemical components, scientifically being able to change the way that our body responds, both physically and emotionally, due to that, it's that neuroplasticity. So there's a huge amount of science, which we're not going to go into today because I haven't got my white coat on. But seriously, that's what blew me away. I was a massive skeptic at the start. And it wasn't until I realised the science that's involved in making these basically a natural medicine cabinet. There are so many natural chemical properties in here that mimic what's in our body. They are trying to bring our body back into homeostasis, the way it was designed. So when we put something synthetic in to stop or prevent or mask, say, discomfort in the body, like pain, inflammation, we're not actually helping our body to heal from it. When it's not like a long-term solution. So that's where these pure essential oils come in.
Awesome. I mean, I think we're part of a book club, and I remember you sending me some oils, and I can't remember what the name was, but I put a drop on my hand and I inhaled it in, and I told you I had this whole wave of just.
I think I remember which one it was. I think it was bergamot, which is part of one of the ones that we're going to talk about today.
And it was the instant recognition of my body of what I was smelling, and the physical reaction that my body had is nothing compared to anything that I've had before, bar taking morphine. But obviously that's not legal unless prescribed, etc., etc. But that's a different story. But
it creates a dependency in the body, doesn't it? And this is the difference. So we are conditioned to expect a certain amount of blocking of pain and discomfort, whether it's physical or emotional, with synthetic medicine, with Western medicine. That's what we expect. And therefore we have this natural skepticism of anything natural. And yet it's exactly what our body wants.
Yeah. Well, you kind of, I mean, I'm not anti-pharma, but this is my personal opinion. When you take like a medication to essentially put a plaster over something, it causes another problem. So you then have to put another medication in there to counteract the side effect of said plaster.
Mm.
And it's like, well, how many plasters do you put on until you actually deal with what's happening underneath the plaster and fix
This is exactly it.
So there is a place in the world for pharmaceutical medications. That's exactly what they've created.
100%.
But I feel the more that we lean into these more natural types of ways of healing ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally, we're going to be better off in the long run. And that's my opinion. So I'm not saying that that's the opinion of Anna or anybody else. This is my personal opinion.
I have to say I agree. There's a lot of there are situations where medication is necessary, needed, and I work with a lot of people who are using oils as kind of a stepping stone. Maybe they're looking to move away from medication that their body has previously relied on, and that's fine. Like you, I'm not anti, but I am doing this as a direct result of the situation that's caused within my mum's body. So my mum has been on a variety of different medication for a variety of different health situations since her 20s. And that was the best course of action in every situation for her. And yet it's led to a situation in her 70s that I don't want in my 70s. So I am doing everything I can for me personally, which is another reason that I found the oils to support depression. And I chose that route rather than the medication route. And again, I help ladies and men who are doing the sort of stepping stone, are trying both. Because I think as a society, certainly in this country, in the UK, this isn't known. This form of healing our body isn't known. As much as in other countries. I regularly go to events where we have other European coaches that work with doTerra from, say, Germany and Romania and Poland, and it's a very different story there. So it's really interesting to have that ability and have that connection and have those conversations. One lady said to me in Romania, she said, "Oh, the UK is just where we were 7 or 8 years ago," So I was really able to quiz her because she's been in the business for that long. So it's really interesting. And I feel, again, we're not here to comment on the state of healthcare in the UK at the moment, but I think there is a place for this on a physical level for our health, which is more understandable, I think, for some people than the emotional level. But I think as soon as you get into this kind of scenario that you and I are in, which is running our own business, usually on our own, is where we then need that support of tools in so many more different ways. Our health, yes, as an absolute foundation, but for our energy and our emotions, it's a huge, huge opportunity. Running our own business and using them.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty bits. So how do we use oils in business? Cool. I know you've prepared something for the podcast, so I'd love to just run through what you've prepared. And if any of you have seen it on my Instagram, I've actually got all the oils that she's talking about right here in front of me. So I'm going to be having an experience at the same time as Anna's talking and feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling from the oils, which I'm really excited about.
Yay! So we've got 9 different oils that I sent you some little samples of, and I've got them here. And when we first started talking about this, it really wasn't hard for me to come up with this little list because they're ones that I use myself. And just to demonstrate that, I woke up this morning feeling quite wobbly, just feeling quite anxious, which isn't my usual state. And 7 out of these 9 oils I've already used this morning. So I am feeling really thoroughly qualified to be running through these with you today. So we decided to have 5 oils that would support, or 5 blends that would support our energy to feel uplifted and then 4 oils or blends to support our energy to feel calmed. So often that can be really confusing for people, like how can one thing do the 2 different things? And it's all to do with the natural chemical components in those oils, and that's what the science is behind them. So when doTERRA are coming up with blends, they create them based on the natural chemical compounds and what they want the blend to do. So let's kick off with wild orange, which is the oil of joy and abundance. So call it nature's antidepressant. So it comes from 4 different oranges in Spain and in Greece.
Yeah.
Because
smelling that compared to, say, a synthetic orange flavoured whatever, that just smells like orange zest.
And this is it. So it comes from the peel of the orange.
Yeah.
Which is exactly where that bit is that catches you in the eye when you peel it. So yeah, it's a very, very zesty, but also quite sweet. So pure that you can actually add it into water. Actually, have you got a glass of water with you?
I've got a plastic bottle, and I don't use plastic.
Yes.
But I do have a lemon that I actually put in my peppermint tea in the morning.
Lovely.
And it goes really nice. Peppermint and lemon. It literally.
Do you know, I've never tried that.
3 or 4 drops of lemon oil with peppermint tea.
I'm going to do that
every morning.
So
and
these are
that kind of. I get a very nice feeling after I have that cup of tea in the morning.
A boost and a cleanse at the same time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the reason that you can do that is these oils are so incredibly pure. Absolutely stressing here, if anyone has got an essential oil at home and they're thinking of just whacking it in their water or their tea, please only do that if it's doTERRA, because they can ensure that there are no other chemicals or synthetics. So when we ingest an oil, it's going to help to cleanse. If it's a citrus oil, it's going to help to naturally cleanse our body. If it's a mint, then it's going to uplift. So what this particular oil does for us is it lifts our ability to feel joy. So if we're feeling a little bit grumpy, a little bit down, maybe a meeting was cancelled, or maybe an appointment's been cancelled, or maybe a meeting didn't go in the way that we want it to, this is one of the first go-tos as like a natural, people are familiar with sort of serotonin and dopamine sort of fix, you know, rather than picking up the phone and scrolling, and inhaling a wild orange, which you just did, the particles are going to go up the nose, into the brain, and we're just going to start to feel more uplifted because of those natural chemical components. So wild orange is such a baseline for a joy and abundant feel, which we need if we are sitting on our own for most of the time, trying to come up with and create ways to get our business out there and speak to more people. So wild oranges, it's pretty much whenever I sample somebody new, so I've got 4 samples here waiting to send out to people for a variety of emotional and physical things going on in their lives. Wild orange is always in there, always in there. It's such a great leveler and baseline. The next one we're going to talk about is the one that I think you talked about earlier, bergamot.
Bergamot. Here's my little one.
We're going to inhale this one as well. And when we inhale an oil, typically we'll drop it into our palms. Yeah. So I'm going to do this with bergamot. We'll drop it into our palms, rub our hands together gently, and then we'll inhale, not touching our face, but about here. And when we inhale an oil, we don't breathe here, we breathe from our tummies. So if I watch people doing that, I make them do it again, because it's so important that we're just drawing. Inhaling an oil is not only the oil going up into our brain and having the emotional benefits, but it's also helping us to get more oxygen in the body. And I truly believe that, you know, a strong, deep breath, pulling oxygen into the body on its own is quite beneficial. So coupling that with the power of an oil.
Yeah.
So bergamot's the oil of self-love and self-worth. And those two together are a phenomenal support for an abundant, joyful, positive feel. There's also lots of research on bergamot helping with trauma as well, so PTSD. There's lots of research out there, not just the doTERRA one, but in general. So bergamot is an oil that I rely on a lot. Again, just to keep that buoyancy of belief.
Yeah, I think that is so important when you're in business, especially like you've said with the orange. If something doesn't go the way you expect it to, I mean, I talk a lot with my clients about releasing expectations, but we still have that level of expectation in there. And then having the bergamot there to go, okay, it didn't go as planned, but it's all good.
Yeah, it brings you back to why you started it in the first place, like your belief of yourself, which it's really easy to lose. It's really easy to lose for anyone, but when you're focusing on moving a business forward in whatever capacity, whether it's sales, whether it's reaching out for more meetings, whether it's creating something completely new, you need that self-belief and self-worth to do it with the best power and the best opportunity. Speaking of power and opportunity, let's do green mandarin next. So green mandarin is essentially a mandarin but unripe, which is why it's green. So you'd think it would have quite a raw smell, but actually I find this one quite sweet. So this is what I like to do with this one. So turn your bottle upside down onto your finger.
Yeah.
Put your finger in the middle of your tongue. Now this is one, give it a few minutes to. This is one I recommend to people if they say to me they are a fan of sweets. So like wine gums, jelly beans, that kind of thing. So it's really good for supporting any kind of sugar cravings that you have going on. So you can add this to water.
It tastes a bit to me like the rind of a citrus fruit.
Yes, but that's exactly it. It's funny though, in water, so I have green mandarin in my water today, and it's quite a bit sweeter.
Yeah, it's kind of like the taste I've got is rind of an orange.
That you probably wouldn't want to chew on much, would you?
No, but it's not a bad taste. But
the freshness.
There's a certain flavour, isn't there, to the rind of a fruit.
The closest that someone's ever described it for me is, do you remember midget gems? The little, really small bullets of like wine gums. It's like they're like those because they've got that fruity flavour, but they've also got that kind of that tartness, that slight bitterness.
Yeah, it's not it's not quite nice. Yeah,
refreshing.
My taste buds all here just started salivating.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. So when we use an oil on our tongue, we're getting the kind of flavour taste of it, but we're also going to be inhaling it, obviously. So it's going to be helping us energetically and emotionally. But this oil is the oil of pure potential. And I really love this because, again, we were talking about running your own business and always being switched on to opportunity, which can be really hard and really exhausting. And naturally, things will happen and we'll start to feel a bit maybe victimized or a bit, we getting into a sense of sort of lack or a sense of lack of opportunity. This oil gives this sense where you don't feel so weighted down by the possibility of something going wrong. Again, it's a citrus oil, so it's going to be uplifting, but the particular chemical component property of that is just to help you feel quite fearless and quite open and excited. And that is a state that if you're in, then any sort of connection that you're trying to make business-wise or any project or any sort of creativity, that's the kind of emotion that you want to be feeling when you're in that state of work, of doing. Right, we've got two more uplifting ones to talk through, and they're both blends, and they're both actually from an emotional aromatics kit. We've got passion and we've got motivate. So let's do passion first. So passion is, as it suggests, helping you to find your passion in life. So it's woody, floral, and it's citrus. It's such a rounded blend. Now, not all blends have citrus, floral, and wood. Some are just wood, trees, some are just florals, and we've mainly talked about citrus so far for being so uplifting. But this, I'm going to give you a list of what's in it. Are you ready? So you've got ginger, jasmine, sandalwood, ylang ylang, wild orange lemon, cardamom bergamot, magnolia, tonka bean, vanilla, and cinnamon bark. So it's sweet and spicy.
Smells absolutely gorgeous.
It's literally all about finding your passion. So I keep a little roller ball of this and I roll it over my heart space. So for anyone listening that understands chakras, oils can be placed topically on the body when we dilute them with a carrier oil and typically put them in a roller ball of any size. Diluting oils makes it safe for the body so we don't have a skin sensitivity, and it also helps it to draw into the bloodstream. So we can use passion in lots of different chakras of our body where we want to be feeling that. So our solar plexus is really good for our kind of creativity. But this, I use it on my heart space.
Have you ever used it on your throat chakra?
It's interesting because I was reading about it before this podcast and it was talking about the throat chakra. For the chakras are all about releasing the energy in that area, isn't it? If you're in a discussion, presentation, talk, where you want to make sure that you're going to communicate your passion, then absolutely that's the place to put it.
Because I'm doing a guest speaker spot on Friday at a networking. And although I know what I'm talking about, sometimes I do get blocked in my throat chakra. And I'm not going to go into why, but I've done a lot of work on that and I know why it gets blocked. So I'm like, oh, roll some of that because I've got some fractionated coconut oil. I think you sent it me last time, actually, a little bottle of it. So I can just mix some. I mean, if you haven't got the roller balls, I just mix it in my hand.
Perfect. Yeah.
Rub it on instead.
Yeah. Passion will just help to connect you before you act with your desire, your feeling, your passion, your reason why. And then I think that just helps you get into the flow of what you want to say and helps you to sort of shed any of those anxious feelings or fears. Or another very good one for speakers is spearmint. So spearmint is the oil of clear communication. And I recently did a talk at a DoTerra event that we went at. So I made up a little speaker blend and I rolled it exactly here. It had lavender, it had green mandarin, it had bergamot, and it had spearmint in as well. So yeah, that's a really lovely thing to do before speaking.
Awesome.
And then the final blend for uplifting is motivate, and that genuinely does what it says on the tin. So this one is really helpful for people that struggle to get stuff done. So this is the blend for procrastinators. This is the blend for people who really need some help to get something started or try something new. It's got peppermint in it, which is really uplifting. Rosemary, which is really good for concentration. Lemongrass, which is very supportive for positive energy. And then it's got spearmint in that we were talking about as well. Clear communication.
Oh, my nose, I can feel the spearmint in there.
So it's mints and citruses, and that is exactly uplifting energy. So all the oils we've talked about are uplifting, but this is like the 10 out of 10 motivator, get stuff done. So interestingly, this isn't a blend I reach for much because my motivation, I'm quite sort of an action orientated person. Once I've got my emotions sorted, then I can go and get stuff done. But I do know a lot of people that rely on this, both in a work office capacity. One of my friends is a shoe shop owner. She uses this a lot. She's got her end of year accounts to do. She said, I'm literally bathing in this at the moment. So she'll have it in a roll ball, all over her. She's got it in her diffuser. So when we use oil in those two ways, both topically on our body and in our diffuser, we're getting even more benefit. And that's the thing with these oils, you can't overuse them. So, we were talking earlier about medication, we're limited to sort of every 3-4 hours. Because this is natural, we can just keep reapplying topically, keep inhaling, have it in the diffuser, have drops in our water. We're not limited in that way.
Yeah, I suppose whatever the body doesn't use, it just gets rid of.
Absolutely this, yes. And yeah, that's exactly it. There's nothing synthetic that's going to cause a side effect issue that it would do with a medication. So how are you feeling at the moment? Ready to get stuff done? Create?
Yeah. But I could edit this podcast as soon as we finish recording.
Yes, get in. Right. Perhaps we should have done them around the other way then, because now we're going to talk about the calming oils. So For me, running my own business, I've run an online retail business, a marketing consultancy, and worked in lots of different kind of corporate roles. Yes, you need uplifted energy, you need creativity, you need passion, you need to understand, boundless opportunities. But I am living testament to the fact that sometimes, despite all of that, and with all of that, you're going to have anxious feelings. You're going to have moments where you feel there's some despair in there. There's some panic, there's some overwhelm, there's stress, there's fear, there's, I think if you were to measure the emotions of a business owner at any stage in their business, that is a big part of the day. And how we navigate that in order to share our services, our talents, our skills is the key. So the 4 we've got, which way should we go first? Let's go adaptive first. So adaptive was created by doTerra just before the wobbly lockdown time. They obviously didn't know. But usually when doTerra create blends, they create them, as I said, on the chemical compounds. And then they smell it, and they usually need to tweak something for the aromatic profile. But this blend needed no tweaking aromatically.
It's nice. The difference between the adaptive and the motivate, I'm already feeling the calming, because obviously the mint gives you this and this.
So for me, mint's a bit too much because my energy's often already here. So if I have mint often aromatically, then I'm too much. This has got spearmint in it. This has got lavender.
You can't
wild
actually
orange.
smell the spearmint.
Yeah. Copaiba, which we're going to come on to shortly, and neroli. So this was created to assist anxious states of mind, and it can be used. We don't ingest this one, so this is a topical or aromatic use, so in the diffuser. I don't go anywhere without this oil. This oil really, really saved me a few years ago.
Is that why the bottle's tattered?
Literally,
for anybody watching on YouTube,
honestly,
bottle is literally tattered.
It really is. And I was inhaling this morning because what this blend will do is it will help to interrupt those thought patterns. And we can't stop those thought patterns easily because they're in our brains, neuroplasticity. But when we introduce a tool or something, lots of different things that people use, I know, but for me, it's essential oils really help this for me. It just starts to change the way that we respond. We adapt our response accordingly. And when we use an oil over time, we create those regular interactions and that regular change in our brain. So this is an oil for anxious feelings at any time of the day. It's uplifting and calming at the same time. As someone who has lived with anxiety for many years, often, undiagnosed for a long time, not really knowing what all those other feelings were, it means that your personal power is muted because you are so busy whizzing in your head, being flown off in all different directions of all the things that you think you need to be worrying about or doing or thinking, or mainly you're not able to connect with what's in front of you, or very likely who's in front of you. So either on a family level or a business level, it means that you're just not connecting your personal power and your flow and your energy into the opportunity in front of you. And it just steals joy, steals energy. So
this reminds me a lot of something I've spoke to my members about, which is essentially where we get hijacked by that inner monologue.
Absolutely,
because it's always there. Whether you realise it or not, you are always talking to yourself.
Totally.
And this to me sounds like it gives you the power to ignore the monologue, because the monologue is there, and the monologue is there based upon beliefs, values, experiences, and its prime instinct is to keep you safe, but your mind doesn't actually know how to keep you safe. That mind is based upon prehistoric premonitions of being eaten by saber-toothed tigers or whatever it is, which is not actually a threat anymore.
No, not so much nowadays.
especially here in the UK, there's lions, but they're in zoos. And I this is one of the things the first thing I talk to about clients with is understanding that inner monologue and understanding that you have a choice to listen or not. However, it can sabotage and overtake. And this adaptive to me sounds like the oil that gives you the power to say, shh, I'm not listening to you anymore.
It's exactly that. It's the physical response in the body, and you can feel it. So for me, I get sort of short breath, shortness of breath. Some people feel it in anxious feelings in their tummy.
Yeah, mine is tummy anxiety.
Yeah. So by inhaling it, we start to change the way our body associates the thoughts. And then we start to create a really powerful mind-body connection with a tool. So our brain then acknowledges, oh, okay, you've just done that, and now I feel this, and you create a new neural pathway. You create a new way, a new thought pattern, essentially. So its very similar cousin is balance, the balance blend. So this is also really helpful in moments of overwhelm. So similar to anxiety, similar to adaptive, but a very different. So let's do this one in the palms, because this one's a bit more subtle. So a couple of drops in the palms, and then an inhale.
Oh, lovely.
That's like a wander through a forest for those that don't have the benefit of smelling this. So you've got lots of different fir trees, frankincense, blue tansy, chamomile. It is called the grounding blend. It's calming. Yeah. So any sense of stress and overwhelm and detail and busy head and frazzled mind, and as a mum, this is a blend I will often use just for pickup. So if I have one of those days where I'm just at it and busy and in a good way, maybe, but I just want to be in the right space for a different energy and picking up the boys, and I just want to bring myself down a bit, then it's that. I was inhaling this morning. I will also use it if I'm just feeling like there's an anger or a fear rising in me, and I just want to ground. I just want to bring down. So this is definitely the calming of the two, whereas adaptive has got that uplift. It's got that wild orange. This is definitely.
Yeah, I think you've just mentioned in there about the fear. I think that's like an overriding emotion that so many business owners feel all the time. Because we, as a business owner, we're responsible for generating our own income for our life. And that brings with it so much fear. Because what if it doesn't work? And I can see this blend working really well to get rid of the what ifs.
That's exactly it. We, as you say, we're responsible for creating our own world, income, money, food on the table, mortgage, all of that stuff. And we chose that. But with it comes so many other layers, which this can just help to calm and mute. It's incredible. So I will use this daily, and I will use it in a variety of ways. It'll often be in the diffuser during the evening, but I will go to my oils corner in my kitchen, and I will literally just, as I've done, put it in my palms and inhale. And I know I can do that as and when I'm having that feeling, and it will change. So I mentioned earlier I used 7 of these 9 before the podcast. So I've had 3 in the diffuser, had a couple in my water. I inhaled balance from my palms. I rolled adaptive on me earlier to change my state that I woke up in this morning. And it's unusual for me to wake up in that way now. It used to be my standard. It was my everyday. Didn't know any different. But I now know that I have the ability to shift how I'm feeling so that it changes the course of my day. Whereas before I would have just felt crap, gone to work, been a bit chitty, a bit grumpy, gone into a meeting, just had a really unproductive day and then come home and carried it on. Whereas now I get to choose. Like you said, we notice our thoughts, we get to choose. And this is a tool that I use to put me in a state where my day is going to be more productive.
Yeah. Awesome.
So all chilled out from the balance.
Yep.
Copaiba is the next place we're going to go to. Now this is in the adaptive blend. And this one doesn't have a very strong aromatic profile. So what I want us to do is to put this one under our tongue. So you've got, did I give you a dropper bottle, or have you got, yeah. So you'll need to, might be a bit fiddly. It can go on your tongue, but yeah, do that. So with a bottle like this, I would just do this. So tap it under my tongue. What's the taste profile for you?
Kind of sweet.
Mm. So I always say to people, this is a cross between a muddy puddle and raisins. Because it's not.
That's probably the sweetness I'm getting.
So it's quite mild.
It is, yeah.
Dropping it under the tongue is one of the most powerful things that we can do with this oil for our nervous system. So when we ingest an oil, it helps to work on a cellular level. It crosses into our cells. We can use this oil topically and aromatically as well, but the most powerful way is what we've just done, a drop under the tongue. So I start my day and end my day with this. Reason being, it helps to support our nervous system. Our endocannabinoid, and I'm not going to get really sciencey on you, our endocannabinoid system, the receptors that this blend is a bit similar to CBD, if people have heard of what CBD does in the body. However, this oil has 3 times the amount of active ingredient that a typical CBD oil will have. So what it's able to do is it's able to calm our nervous system, which in turn physically in the body can really help any kind of pain or discomfort. But also it's going to support all of the things we've been talking about with the adaptive and the balance blend, which is just to calm down that constant whizzing that we get. It's just going to slow things so that we can have clearer thought and clarity, and that we can just remove the discomfort from our body, that constancy of what's next, deadlines, schedules, lists to do. It just gets us into a more effective work state.
Awesome.
The copaiba was pretty brilliant. It comes from Brazil, and when I was at a recent event, there was a lady from Brazil there, and she was just telling awesome stories that as kids, it was just the wonder oil. It was used for everything. It used for hair, used for skin, but they used to have a big old spoon of it. So her memories of the taste wasn't quite as, yeah, she might not have said muddy puddle or raisin, because they had, yeah.
A spoon versus a drop. It's
yeah. Right, so the very last one is Serenity. And this is the oil that I recommend people for sleep. And we could do a whole separate podcast on the benefits of sleep. Yes. It's one of the most important parts of our wellness. So if we're not sleeping well, then we're not focusing, our confidence is lacking, we're probably not going to eat or drink well. So this blend is very, very calming, soothing, restful.
Is there lavender in there?
Yeah. Sweet and spicy, this one. So it's got cinnamon, lavender, vetiver, which is a very calming oil. So it's a blend. So for sleep, the typical way to use this would be rolling on our pulse points, but also the soles of our feet, because the pores in the soles of our feet are big, which means it's going to get into our bloodstream and go around our body and just have a really good calming effect on us physically. This can also be used for frazzledness as well, so similar to balance. And I tend to find with people, it depends on the profile, whether they're more sort of a tree fresh smell or whether they like the sort of sweet and spicy. But those two together in a diffuser in the evening after a busy, stressful, unpleasant day is just going to then get you into the state ready for sleep, which means then your next day is going to be better. And I think this is how I sort of view these oils, is that they're tools that I can be better at what I want to be doing. So whether that is for business or actually whether that's inside, for my family, because running your own business never stops, does it? You're always working, which comes with positives, but also comes with that constant thinking and that constant thought. And sometimes we do want to calm that down so that we can be present and have that energy ready to come back at it the next day, whenever we work.
Yeah, I mean, completely. I mean, as we're both mums and we're both business owners. I know your kids aren't too dissimilar in age to mine, and that there's a constant pull of need, and it does get overwhelming because you're needed by your clients, you're needed by your business, you're needed by the kids, you're needed by your partner. And then where in that scenario is the need for you?
Yeah.
And I think using serenity and these balanced ones is putting you back into the equation, because you're calming yourself from all that neediness that you've had throughout the day. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just business ownership and being a parent, because kids under the age of like 10, they need you. They need you. They want cuddles. They need you to help with food and wiping bums, you know. And it is as a mother. So yeah, I can see where just having that time once the storm that is parentalhood has settled, to just sit back and essentially put yourself back together, and just
It's exactly that, isn't it? It's an empowering tool to have more of you when you need it for whatever mode you're in throughout your day. I certainly used to rely on alcohol and sugary treats for that. And I'm not anti-alcohol or sugary treats. I still partake, but it's not my go-to anymore, because these have a better effect in my body and they don't affect me the next day. And these are actually going to be helping my long-term vitality and health and sort of healing situation. It's really interesting. The oils that we're drawn to are the ones that we don't even know that we need, and they can be having that physical response in our body.
Would you say there's a compound effect of using the oils? Obviously, you talked about creating those new neural pathways based upon how they make you feel. And I know the answer, but for anybody who's listening, using them consistently, would that have a compound effect of strengthening that neural pathway and the impact of the oil the more often you use it?
Without a doubt, on both an emotional and a physical level. So yeah, when we do something empowering that our brain notices, it creates a new neural pathway, and then our brain sees that as the habit. So we're constantly creating a very empowering mode of us looking after ourselves, and that doesn't go away, that doesn't stop. Sometimes people that I work with, they'll say, oh, I haven't used them for a while, oh, I'm going to get back into it. And it's like any sort of habit, as soon as you then start introducing them into your day with your habits, you do see that benefit. But that's such a good point, because often people will expect when they take a medication that something will stop immediately or change immediately, because it's a synthetic sort of covering. Whereas this is a different kind of experience, and the more often that you do it, that it's the frequency rather than the quantity as well. You know, we often say one drop can have such a profound effect because they're so pure, but it's without a doubt the frequency of doing it, both from a emotional point of view, and then also just showing our body, you know, it's like muscle memory, isn't it? Our bodies have such an ability to lead our mind as well. You know, the mind body connection is incredible. So, and I've personally found this, starting off with one oil for one thing and then being curious and going, oh, I wonder if it could work with that. The oils have such a healing capacity in our body that then it's almost like the stripping back of the layers. This is what I often tend to say with people. And if they are open to that and interested in that, then my goodness, it can lead to the most empowered way of healing our physical and emotional body that we may not have even been aware of when we first, you know, like me, when my friend said, oh, roll this down your nose to help with your sinus pain. I'm like, all right then. Who knew? Who knew? 5 years later, I was going to be talking on a podcast about how, you know, these little magical bottles taken from plants all over the world can be helping me to be more successful in my business with my confidence, my energy, my focus, clarity. You know, so many women in our sort of age bracket with kids are diagnosed with all kinds of things, and the word perimenopause comes up a lot. And, you know, focus and clarity is such a key thing that we can use as a real stick to beat ourselves with. Yes. And yet, as soon as we introduce something that is empowering, that is positive, that we can repeat often, it's just this, it's like a positive cycle. And I used to talk a lot about downhill thinking and downhill spirals with overwhelm and stress and anxiety. And this is the opposite. This is like the uphill sort of, there's always going to be another level. But yeah, it's that consistency and that frequency that really helps to sort of create that effect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. This has been so interesting. And if anybody listening uses doTerra or is interested in doTerra and finding out a little bit more how they can use it to essentially create a better environment for them to grow their business. And it doesn't even have to be business. If you are an employee, it works the same, because you've still got that push-pull of emotions. Anna has got an offer for you. So share it.
I do indeed. So I run lots of different workshops, but I also do one-to-ones. And I would like to offer anybody that's listening to this podcast to contact me to have a free discovery one-to-one where we can work out where you're at, where you'd like to be, what your scenario is, and then we can work out which oils are going to help you get to that next step. So it may be some of the ones that we've talked about, or our discussion might turn up some others. But yeah, I would like to offer that as a free discovery call with me. And we're in April at the moment. So for anyone who contacts me and sets that up in April, I've got a free gift oil to give you as well. So
that's exciting. I might get one myself. I mean, your journey with doTerra oils has been incredible. Just hearing more about it today. I mean, and Anna and I have been at a wellness retreat, well-being conference. What even would you call that? That we went to with Devon?
A transformational life experience for me, certainly.
And this was with a lot of doTerra advocates. So the whole room smelled incredible. And what kind of kept me going, and a lot of people going on that whole 2.5 day experience, was peppermint and lemon.
Yes.
So, and it's because it was very emotionally draining, not physically, emotionally draining, because of the work that we did, quite deep work. Drop of peppermint, drop of lemon on your hands. Everybody in the room was doing lemon and peppermint bombs. It brings you back in the room. It's that so lemon is very cleansing, either in the body, as we know when we drink it, to sort of help detox naturally, but also for our thoughts. So clarity of thought. Lemon in the diffuser is incredible through the day to help us. We were using it when we were homeschooling my son. And then peppermint, the same. It's just so energizing. It's one of the most uplifting oils to use. And it is. I was working at an event on Sunday, and everyone that tried it, you just see their eyes open wider. It feels like the brain goes.
Yeah, someone said it's like you've just smacked me in the face. It's an intense. It's also like I mean, I don't drink caffeine, haven't done for several decades, but it's that same boost. And for bringing you back in the room, like you said, that was a very heavily emotional few days. But whatever you want to be brought back in the room from, oils are going to help to match where you are and where you want to be, because of their vibrations, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I've just kind of had a thought then of those days where, say, you haven't been able to get as much sleep as you wanted to, and those people who drink, say, copious amounts of coffee to keep them invigorated.
Mm.
Imagine just a drop of peppermint oil on your hand. Deep inhale several times a day, and you'll be boom.
It's incredible. And also
with these other oils to get those networks firing.
Yeah,
It just do so much more for you than a cup of coffee.
totally does. Totally does. Same effect, but even better in the body.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Right, so Anna's put her offer out there. If anybody is interested in taking her up on that, the information will all be in the show notes. And yeah, I think I might actually get one myself, because why not? Why not? Because we could all do with a little bit of help. And thank you very much, Anna, for sharing your wisdom and your thoughts, and for sending me all of these 9 oils to try with you and everybody else. And yeah, just thanks very much. And I hope everybody who's listening has taken something away, even if you are not interested in the oils or anything else. You've taken something away that you can use to push your business and yourself forward and stay motivated in your life, bringing it to a joyous fruition. Thank you very much, Anna.
Awesome. Very well.
Are you ready to become a wealth warrior in 2024? If so, come and follow me on Instagram at I am Leah Crowfoot, where you can find out more about how you can become a wealth warrior through your own money mindset transformation.